Trust Once Lost, Chapter 8, Part 2.
We should read them together.
I smiled.
It might help jog my memory.
He looked uncertain. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show them to you.
Why not?
I asked.
The only patient information in them is mine, right? So it's fine for me to read it. You just can't show it to any pony else.
That was a bald-faced lie. Just because it wasn't technically illegal to show patients their own notes, didn't mean he was allowed to show them to me. You might not understand all the words, he warned. They use a lot of medical words and acronyms.
Well, it's a good thing you're here then.
I smiled again.
You can help me with the big words.
I tried really hard to keep a condescending tone out of my voice and failed utterly. He didn't seem to have picked up on it, though. He smiled and did as I asked, bringing my patient notes into the room. When he opened the folder to the current page, I quickly scanned what was written there. It looked like I really had been delirious if I was going around pretending to be a nurse. Unfortunately, that would make it much more difficult for them to believe the truth when I told them. Without hard physical proof, it was going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to convince them that I was actually an alien without ending up in a psych ward. I still needed to read the first page.
Let's start from the beginning,
I prompted. As far as he knew, I had just been staring uncomprehendingly at the page. He turned back to the first page of the notes, and what I saw made my face pale. I don't think he noticed under my green coat, though. 12/5/04, 11:45 p.m. Patient received in post-op recovery at 11:30 p.m. following mana-guided close-field relocation and internal fixation of RFL. All OBS in normal range, shivering but normothermic. RFL plaster cast in situ. Patient rousable by voice, confusion and disorientation apparent. Patient reoriented. Patient states that she remembers a guy telling her that he was going to make me a mare before being left alone in the forest. See Hospital Internal Incident Report 1357032 and Interagency Mandatory Reporting Tool Report F3479432 for follow-up. No pain or distress noted. Patient is resting comfortably ator. Good cheer, RN PACU. Now it all made sense why Redheart had been so certain that I was covering up some kind of trauma. I'd as much straight up told them.
Damn it.
Okay, so this first part is talking about your condition when you first came into emergency.
Amy explained.
I might have to look up some of these abbreviations, but...
Amethyst?
Nurse Redheart called from the doorway, her face set in stone.
I need to speak with you for a moment, and bring the notes.
Her tone was friendly enough, but I winced, knowing she was about to chew him out for showing me the notes. I felt bad about taking advantage of him. Hopefully he wouldn't get in too much trouble. They spoke outside my door, whispering as if I wouldn't be able to hear them.
Amethyst, you know you can't show the patient notes to other ponies, but they're her patient notes, so there's no breach of confidentiality. It's just other ponies who can't look at them.
What? Who told you that?
Well, she did, actually.
And you listened to her?
Redheart gave a frustrated huff.
Even if she wasn't trying to trick you, and she was, what made you think she had any idea of what she's talking about? She's a 9-year-old filly!
I couldn't see Amy's face, but I knew he'd been hurt.
This is my fault. I should have prepared you better.
Redheart sighed.
When I said Green was special, I didn't mean she was slow or that she was crazy. She's actually rather clever. She picks things up very quickly, and her vocabulary is way above her apparent age. Some pony really hurt her, and I don't mean her leg. The reason foals are so vulnerable and need our protection isn't because they're weak. It's because they're trusting.
Redheart explained. I could tell she'd given this speech before.
They can't always understand why you might want them to do something. And they can't critically evaluate whether what an adult tells them is true. They just take it on faith because they trust that you know and want what's best for them. Some pony has taken advantage of this foal's trust, and whatever she's been through has completely destroyed her trust in other ponies. I don't understand,
said Amethyst.
Why would she be trying to trick me? She wanted to know what she told us while she was delirious so she can keep up a consistent narrative.
Redheart explained.
She probably thinks that if we can identify her, we'll send her back. Or maybe that she'll be punished for telling us what happened. Oh, Celestia.
Amethyst gasped.
She thinks we would do that?
Alright, this has gone far enough. I stepped down off of the bed, intending to walk up to them. But the sound of my cast striking the floor was enough to get their attention. They both looked into the room, and Amethyst made quick strides to stand next to me, ready to catch me if I fell.
Don't be mad at Amy.
I begged.
It was my fault. I saw that he was new and I took advantage of him. Sorry about that, by the way. I was hoping we'd get away with it.
How much did you hear?
Everything. And you're wrong.
I stated.
I trust that both of you will do exactly what you think is best for me. That's great.
But what if you don't see the same way I do?
I questioned.
What if you decide something for me and I disagree?
We're not going to force you to do anything, Green.
That's crap and you know it.
I retorted.
I'm a child. You have a duty of care. If I was going to do something dangerous, you'd have to stop me. And if you thought I needed to do something for my own good, you'd force me to do it.
Yes, Green, if you were running around with scissors, I'd have to stop you. I hardly think that makes me Sombra.
What if I wanted to discharge myself against medical advice? Could I do that?
Your guardian would—
I don't have a guardian. And if I did, then it would be their decision, not mine.
Is it really so terrible here, Green? Is it so bad to have other ponies care for you? Or is there somewhere else you need to be?
No, it's fine. You guys are great, really. It's just... I don't want to be stuck here forever.
Is that what you're afraid of? This isn't a prison, Green. We just have to get you well so you can go home.
She faltered.
So you can get on with your life.
What if when I tell you the truth, you think I'm crazy, and you never let me go?
Have you been in a mental hospital before? Did some pony you know have to stay there?
No.
You mean you don't remember?
I groaned.
You know what I mean.
Green.
If I tell you the truth, you'll either think I'm lying or that I'm crazy. Neither of those are great outcomes for me.
Or maybe we believe you and can help you. If you always expect the worst possible outcome, you're going to be miserable. I promise no matter what you tell me, I'll keep an open mind.
So, if I started telling you about how I wasn't a pony, I was actually an alien from another dimension, you'd stand there and think, oh gee, maybe he really is an interdimensional alien, and you wouldn't just be smiling and nodding while you thought about what part of that you wanted to quote when you were referring to me for a psych evaluation?
Green, please take this seriously. You don't really think you're an alien, do you?
Of course not, that would just be crazy.
I sighed.
I was just trying to prove a point.
What are you trying to prove?
That there are limits to your credulity. You will do whatever you think is right, regardless of what I want. And the only way I can keep ponies from making decisions for me is to not give them the information they need to make those decisions.
All right, fine.
Redheart nodded.
I already told you you don't have to tell me anything until you're ready. Just please don't lie to me. And if you don't want to tell me something, just say so.
I think I could do that.
Okay. So why are you so afraid that you're going to be put in a psych ward?
You've already assigned someone to sit with me all day like I'm on a suicide watch or something.
What?
Stammered Amy.
Oh, sweetie. Amethyst is only here because you need a lot of help, and I have other patients to take care of.
Redheart explained.
You're not thinking about hurting yourself, are you?
No?
Then why would we put you on suicide watch?
She was testing me, trying to get me to trap myself with my own words. Either that or I was overreacting and assuming the worst about her intentions.
Well, remember earlier when I put my hoof to my face, and you thought I was trying to hurt myself?
I said, carefully.
You hit yourself in the face so hard it made you cry.
Well, I didn't mean to do it that hard.
Obviously.
Huh?
I believe you. I don't think you were consciously trying to injure yourself. I think you have an involuntary tic. Each time you did it, it was the exact same motion, triggered by you feeling embarrassed about something, and you didn't even seem to realize you were doing it.
That was actually closer to the truth than I expected.
Then, Why did you ask me all those questions about if I wanted to hurt myself?
Because it's my job, Green. Actually, when I came in, Green was talking about jumping out the window.
Amethyst chipped in.
She said it wasn't high enough for her to commit suicide.
That was a joke, Amy.
I glared.
Well, it wasn't funny.
All I said was that even if I was suicidal, you didn't have to worry about me jumping out of the window because the first floor isn't high enough.
Redheart had to quickly suppress a smile. Clearly, her sense of humor was darker than Amethyst's.
I'm not going to scold you for telling a joke, but please try not to traumatize my trainees.
Redheart pleaded.
I know that adults sometimes use that kind of humor, but part of being an adult is learning when a joke is appropriate to tell.
I had a snarky comeback, but Redheart had practically teleported out of the room, which was doubly impressive since she was an Earth Pony. Clearly, we had taken up too much of her time.
You two try not to kill each other, okay?
She called out, before disappearing into the chaotic maelstrom that was a hospital corridor in the early morning. I looked at Amy.
Alright, so since you don't understand sarcasm...
I spoke slowly, as if explaining something to a particularly slow child.
When she told us not to kill each other, she was joking. It's funny because the idea that we would murder one another is unexpected enough to be comically absurd.
Celestia, grant me patience.
Amethyst groaned and put a fetlock over his eyes. I have a feeling the trio with all of them is going to be a blast, and I can't wait for it. Anyways, let's get on to our humorous donators. Top donators are 630, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, and IronSky. Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin, Rolan, Stu Hex, Sword Brother, Mortar, Omicron Library, Runetype 9852, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rides All, Badass Waffle, Shadow Moon, Luigi 88, Chancellor Crest, Big Smoke 369, Jesse Smith, Popcat GJF, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.